Heyo, what's up, everybody? Back with a brand new review for all of you. This week, going to be talking about the film Jurassic World Rebirth. This is the newest film in the, of course, iconic Jurassic franchise, coming 3 years after Jurassic World Dominion. Tied up their trilogy of films, we now have Rebirth, and Dominion was met with mostly negative reviews. Did this film rebirth the interest in Jurassic? I know, terrible, absolutely terrible pun, but we're going to talk about that movie on this here review. And then at the end, show off a little collectible thing I picked up. I'm pretty excited about. But nonetheless, man, there is your lovely poster for Jurassic World Rebirth with your 3 stars up front there. Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey. The film is currently playing in theaters, rated PG-13 for a drug reference, action, some suggestive references, bloody images, intense sequences of violence and language. Film runs in at 2 hours, 14 minutes. This is classified as an action, adventure, sci-fi film, as they pretty much all have been classified as. The film synopsis goes as 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, so 3 years since the film came out, timeline 5 years after that. Uh, After the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has had proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they once thrived. The three most colossal creatures within that tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life saving benefits to humankind. That is the synopsis for Jurassic World Rebirth. So essentially, if you've seen the trailers, you get the idea that Scarlett Johansson's being hired, or she's like a mercenary who helps, people get people onto an island. So they're going to an island where they got the misfit toys, if you will, of dinosaurs from the original park. So the original film they created were creating all these dinosaurs and all that stuff. Some of them didn't turn out looking too perfect, looked a little bit too scary and all that stuff with some of the insane creations that they were working on. So they got put on that island to the side and all that stuff. So now Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey, two, mercenaries at the absolute best at being able to get on and get out of a place quickly. And then Jonathan Bailey's character, who is a scientist who loves dinosaurs and all that stuff, works at a dinosaur museum and all that stuff, is being brought in as well to help with his expertise. So that's where we are going with this film from that. So, like I alluded to earlier, Jurassic World Rebirth is kind of being set in a way to get it back to the Jurassic Park of it all, if you will. Now, of course, not a park really involved in either one of this film at all. It's more of a extraction thing. Let's get in there. Let's get blood samples from these dinosaurs to help make a miracle kind of drug. Is the main storyline of this film. So they're trying to get back to this style again after Dominion wasn't met with the love, even though it did make over $1 billion and all that stuff. It wasn't met with the love that the Jurassic franchise is normally met with. The the people who were behind the making of this movie are like, let's get it back to kind of the basics of what we know for this film and all that stuff. Let's show off the dinosaurs. Let's be lovingly big with some of the presentation of what we're going with. Let's get the action right in here. Let's get the dinosaur stuff right. And let's get back to a little bit of the horror thriller elements as well. So that's kind of the main purpose of what they were trying to work with this movie, to again rebirth the intensity of what the Jurassic Park franchise was all about. The nail biting action with dinosaurs, with the intensity of being able to run into some of these meat eaters, if you will. How can you get out of that? Can you get out of it? Are you screwed? And all that stuff. Now, again, of course, these movies are PG-13, so the violent images and all that stuff are kind of hidden. And like certain areas, you can see blood fall down or blood run through water or something like that. But you're not going to see like over the top kills in front of the screen or anything like that. Different time for the Jurassic franchise than it is right now, right? But you still get those sequences in this film, especially my favorite parts of the film overall, with the water aspect, which I feel, if I'm remembering correctly, like this is the most we've ever spent time in the water areas of these movies. And them getting back to the classic style of what Jurassic is. They brought back the writer from the Jurassic Park movie. They, Michael Crichton's book was used a little bit more with this movie as well. So they're getting back to those vibes and all that stuff. And like I mentioned, the water aspect, which you saw some of in the trailer with the Spinosauruses and all that stuff circling around the freaking boat that they're on and all that. And that was intense action sequence and just all of that leading up to the areas and trying to get to the island, all that stuff. Good action that you want from these Jurassic franchise films that gets your heart pumping, gets you anticipating what is actually going to happen. Can they survive this? Are they going to be able to survive these freaking dinosaurs that are on the loose? And smart dinosaurs too, by the way. Like these things are doing some smart things in that scene and all that stuff. So that was really cool. My favorite scene, which was also shown in the trailer, so this is not a spoiler. My favorite scene, which you probably wouldn't be surprised if you know me, was the raft T-Rex scene. Like that scene to me was my favorite scene in this whole movie. It was completely and utterly awesome because one, just mentioned that you were getting back to Michael Crichton's book, which is something people have been asking for a long time to see on screen in the Jurassic franchise, was the raft portion of that book. They bring it in their style, in Hollywood style, into this movie and all this stuff. I love the way they set it all up with the raft being shown in certain areas and all this stuff, and dinosaur popping out this way and dinosaur popping out that way, and all this stuff. Talking around myself, of course, not to spoil anything, but you kind of saw it in the trailer. Um, but I liked that, and of course, huge Universal theme parks fan. So to be able to see that the river journey essentially become part of the movie. Of course, the river journey is a bit different and all that stuff, but the river journey itself was heavily inspired by the book as opposed to the film. Of course, the river aspect is also in like classic Sega video games of the Jurassic video games and all that stuff. That was my favorite scene. So that was really cool. It's like two separate storylines going on in the movie that kind of come together throughout the movie's process and all that stuff. So kind of storylines what's going on there. Story not bad. Like story is entertaining. The action scenes are entertaining. The dinosaur scenes are entertaining and all that stuff. Especially when you get to the big bad and all that stuff. But like I mentioned a couple of times already, it does do a lot of you know getting back to its roots, which leads up to them rehashing certain kind of scenes just in different ways. So doing things that feel very familiar to, especially to the first film in the franchise, which was funny because I remember seeing like something from Steven Spielberg saying he doesn't want to, one of the things even with this movies, he didn't want them to do stuff that was already been done before, and they kind of did that in this movie anyways, which doesn't necessarily hurt it, but it just is like, oh, that's familiar, oh, that's familiar, okay, I remember that. I'm trying to think of more things to talk about without spoiling. There is that's probably spoiler territory, so we won't go there. But overall, I like the movie. Do I overly love it? No, but I had a really good time with it, and I liked it a lot. Does what it needs to do as a summer blockbuster film. It's big. It's got a lot of good energy in it. It's got cool dinosaurs, newish dinosaurs that we haven't seen before. I think pretty much all of them, except for like the Mosasaurus. But I think, well, we've seen a couple of them, but again, don't want to mention them spoiler wise. But T-Rex is in the trailer, so we've got a T-Rex. But a lot of new dinosaurs we haven't seen before because it's kind of the building process of what this movie is. Again, they're going to this island because these dinosaurs, misfit toys, if you will, misfit dinos were put over there on that island, and all that stuff. I liked the movie, had a good time with it. Big Jurassic film and all that stuff. Definitely liked it more than Dominion. I know I've talked to like my buddies throughout the week because they saw it before me. They have it in their like top three. I'm not necessarily going to have it in my top three of the Jurassic franchise, but it's probably fourth out of all of them. But like I enjoyed it. Like I had a good time with it. I thought it was very well done. Again, very familiar film, very good at getting to the horror roots again. Not the first movie in the franchise to do that. Obviously, of course, the first one had it, but Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom had it as well. Trying to think, anything else really? No credit scenes or anything like that, which isn't new. Jurassic doesn't really do those. That is my thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth. Let me know in the comments what you think. Again, a lot of my friends loved it, and I don't hate it. Like I enjoyed it very much myself, but it's not in my top three of the franchise. Okay, the thing I wanted to show off before we get out of here, try to make these episodes as quick as possible because I'm sure you get tired of listening to me. But while I was at the movie theater, I picked up something I've had my eye on for quite some time, and finally picked it up, man. So here it is, the Beetlejuice. Hopefully you can see it. This is, put some more light on this thing. The Beetlejuice popcorn bucket, pretty much. Turn this around. I guess you put your popcorn deal in there and all that stuff. The lighting here isn't that the best, but I got this because I've been eyeing this thing for a while. And this came out with Beetlejuice. Check it out. Beetlejuice. Little light pointing down the arrow. It says here lies Beetlejuice. If you've seen Beetlejuice, you know what this is. It's the tombstone by his grave. But Pick this up. It looks freaking awesome. By all means, I'm not a huge popcorn like bucket collector. It just came out what last September, right? Last September. Yeah, I think it came out like the week or a couple days before the Halloween Horror Nights trip last year. So it's been there since then, right? So it's been there since then. I was looking at it again. I saw that it was even lower, and I'm like, screw it. Obviously, I want this thing because it keeps catching my attention. It's there. Nobody else is going to buy it, apparently, because it's been there for since last September. It's been there, so I was like, you know what? I'll get it, and it's cool, and I'll gladly display this. Um, as a cool thing. So there you go. That's the Beetlejuice collectible I got, and that is my thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, I liked the movie overall, so hopefully go see it and enjoy it. But it's Superman week, my babies. So go see Superman. Superman looks like it's gonna be awesome. Looks like it's getting back to the roots of what Superman's gonna be. I'll give you my review of that on the next review that I release weekly here on this very YouTube channel as well. Halloween Horror Nights stuff on this channel as well. But nonetheless, man, as always, I'd like to remind you that you matter. You're capable of incredible things. Just trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and things will work out for you. I know a lot of stuff can go on in this dome. Trust me, I go through it a lot myself, but try to ignore that. Believe in yourself, trust in yourself, because you do matter, man. Trust in yourself, you're important, man. So thank you for watching this review. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, week, month, year. As always, I like to remind you that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. One only remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all with a Halloween Horror Nights show later this week, and then another review for Superman next week. Bye.